I'm just waiting for the Messiah. We can expect him any moment. It's the royal welcome. It's Matthew 21. When they neared Jerusalem, having arrived at Bethphage on the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent 2 disciples with these instructions. Go over to the village across from you. You'll find a donkey, tethered there. Her colt with her. Untie her, bring them to me. If anyone asks what you're doing, say, the master needs them. He will send them with you. Oh hey, we're in China. Speaking of going to new places, we're in Matthew 21 verse 4. This is the full story of what has been sketched out earlier by the prophet. Tell Zion's daughter, look, your king's on his way, poised and ready, on a donkey, on a colt, foal of a pack animal. The disciples went, did exactly what Jesus told them to do. They led the donkey and colt out, laid some of their clothes on them, and Jesus mounted it. Nearly all the people in the crowd threw their garments down on the road, giving him the royal welcome. Others cut branches from the tree and threw them down on the welcome mat. Crowds went ahead and crowds followed, all of them calling out, Hosanna in the highest to David's son. Blessed is he who comes in God's name. Hosanna in the highest in heaven. As he made his entrance into Jerusalem, the whole city was shaken and unnerved. People were asking, what's going on? What's going on here? Who is this? The parade crowd answered, this is the prophet, Jesus, the one from Nazareth in Galilee. He kicked over the tables. But Jesus did just that. In Matthew 21, verse 12, Jesus went straight to the temple and threw everyone out who'd set up shop, buying and selling. He kicked over the tables of the loan sharks and the stalls of dove merchants. And he quoted this text. My house was designated as a house of prayer. You have made it a hangout for thieves. Now there was room for the blind and the crippled to get in. They came to Jesus and he healed them. Oops. Pretty outrageous, right? Well, speaking of outrageous, Jesus is pretty outrageous. In Matthew 21, verse 15, the religious leaders saw the outrageous things he was doing and heard all the children running and shouting through the temple, Hosanna! It's David's son! They were up in arms and took him to task. Do you hear what these children are saying? Jesus said, yes, I hear them. And haven't you read in God's word? From the mouths of children and babies, I will furnish a place of praise. Fed up, Jesus spun around and left the city of Bethany, where he spent the night. I'm not gonna deny, that's pretty hard, but I'm gonna tell you something that goes hard. The withered fig tree. It's Matthew 21, verse 18. Early the next morning, Jesus was returning to the city. He was hungry. Seeing a lone fig tree alongside the road, he approached it, anticipating a breakfast of figs. When he got to the tree though, there was nothing but fig leaves, and he said, no more figs from this tree ever. The fig tree withered on the spot, as dry as a stick. The disciples saw what happened. They rubbed their eyes saying, did we really see this? A leafy tree 1 minute, a dry stick the next? Yes, and if you embrace this kingdom life and don't doubt God, you'll not only do minor feats like I did to the fig tree, but also triumph over huge obstacles. This mountain, for instance, you'll tell it to go jump in a lake and it will jump. Absolutely. Everything ranging from the small to the large, as you make it a part of your believing prayer, gets included as you lay a hold of God. Who wields true authority? Is it in this place? Does it look something like this? Maybe something like this. Or maybe, just maybe, in a place like this. Nevertheless, in Matthew 21, verse 23, then Jesus was back in the temple teaching. The high priests and the leaders of the people came up and demanded, show us your credentials. Who authorized you to teach here? You will respect my authority. And Jesus is having his authority challenged. He responds, let me ask you a question first. You answer my question, and I'll answer yours. About John's baptism, who authorized it? Heaven or humans?
They were on the spot and knew it. They pulled back in a huddle and whispered, "If we say heaven, he'll ask us why we didn't believe him. If we say humans, we're up against it. We're the people because all of them hold up John as a prophet." So they decided that this round went to Jesus. "We don't know," they answered. "Are you reliable?" Jesus tells a story about two sons and reliability in Matthew 21, verse 28. Jesus says,
Tell me, what do you think of this story? A man has two sons. He went up to the first and said, "Son, go out to work in the vineyard." The son answered, "I don't want to." Later on, he thought better of it and went. The father gave the same command to the second son. He answered, "Sure, glad to," but he never went.
In Matthew 21, Jesus tells the story of two sons who were asked by their father to go to work. The first son has no desire to go, has a change of heart and goes to work later. The second son says, "Of course, Dad," but then bails and never shows. In verse 31, Jesus explains,
Which of the two sons did what the father asked?
"They said, the first son."
And I tell you that crooks and whores are going to precede you into God's kingdom. John came to you, showing you the right road. You turned your noses at him, but the crooks and whores believed in him. Even when you saw their changed lives, you didn't care enough to change and believe.
The next story isn't about sharing. It's about greed. Jesus tells the story of the greedy farmhands in Matthew 21, verse 33.
Here's another story. Listen closely. There was once a man, a wealthy farmer. He planted a vineyard. He dug a wine press, put a watchtower in, and then turned it over to the farmhands and went on a trip. When it was time to harvest the grapes, he sent his servants back to collect the profits. The farmhands grabbed the first servant and gave him a beating. The next one, they murdered. They threw stones at the third, but he got away. Nevertheless, the owner tried again, sending more servants, but they all got the same treatment. The owner was at the end of his rope. He decided to send his son. Surely, he thought, they will respect my son. But when the farmhands saw the son arrive, they rubbed their hands with greed. This is the heir. Let's kill him and have it all for ourselves. So they grabbed him, threw him out, and killed him.
So in Matthew 21, verse 40, Jesus is telling the story of the greedy farmhands, and they've literally just murdered his son. I'm just as curious what's going to happen next as you are, I can imagine. So in verse 40, Jesus says,
Now, when the owner of the vineyard arrives home from his trip, what do you think will happen to the farmhand?
"He'll kill him. Good riddance, a rotten bunch," they answered. "Then he'll assign the vineyard to farmhands who will hand over profits when it comes time." So we're still on the story of farmhands. And what was your strategy to dealing with these guys that have killed the master's son? The consensus was the perpetrators need to be punished. A rotten bunch they were, and the money lost evenly distributed back to the owner. But in verse 42, Jesus says,
Right, and you can read it yourselves in the Bible. The stone the masons threw out is now the cornerstone. This is God's work. We rub our eyes and we can hardly believe it. This is the way it is with you. God's kingdom will be taken from you and handed over to the people who live out a kingdom life. Whoever stumbles on this stone gets shattered, and whoever the stone falls on gets smashed.
So it's Matthew 21, it's the end, it's 45. So let's get going, Lazarus. When the religious leaders heard this story, they knew it was aimed at them. They wanted to arrest Jesus and put him in jail. But intimidated by public opinion, they held back. Most people held him to be a prophet of God. Matthew 21 is all about Jesus making his grand entrance. What did I say at the start? He's made it to the capital. So maybe we should go to the capital. He's been welcomed in as king. He's made his way to the temple. Don't forget, he turned over the tables of the guys peddling their wares. He verbally sparred with the religious leaders and scholars. He's already stirring the pot, so when this guy challenges authority, you better believe some ears pricked up. But nevertheless, Jesus will continue, and so will I, with Matthew, as we delve straight into chapter 22. So until then, keep up! The positive.